Now, you may have already been effed off because you might be part of the thing that I'm talking about. However, Johnson County is now left off, and the state of Kansas. So last year, I have a personalized plate. I register. It's the only thing that saved me from being unregistered because they did the same thing last year, willed me down while they're stalking me. There's nothing else on the planet, so don't act like, well, uh, so there's people that work for the government of Johnson County and Johnson County that F me off. That's their position, and it allows Satan to do that because they sold their position to Satan. So now this year you can't use the kiosk for personalized plate. There's no reason. It's obviously an F that you created because Satan paid you, and the Satan could be the CIA directly. Right? And I was ready to do this in July. And of course, church attacked. But as a representative of the criminal entity that I speak about today, it's called some days it's called Satan. Today it's called Johnson County, but it's still Satan. You'll be fucked off. Period. I'll try to get in line online tomorrow. We'll see how it works. Bullshit. What they're using it for is to fuck the people that they know they can fuck. Right. You change the thing last year. You think, well, I get it in a few days over to kiosk. They probably were freaking out for a month, 2 months. That mother humper, he shouldn't have been allowed to use the kiosk. That's how they are. I agree. They're murderers, man. They don't go to prison for murder and rape. So they just play their fucking game their whole life. He tells me, "Oh, you have personal life," and they're in my head going, "Oh, it's just the way it is here in Johnson County. No, it wasn't like that 365 days ago. Definitely not that 365 days ago." We agree. You all must be gluttons for punishment. That's all I gotta say. We agree. So what they go, well, his mental illness appears to be getting worse. You know what it is. Because you did it to millions of other people. But of course, they acted out and physically hit someone. Right? God got you. So. They see it. They know the economist. Right. So again, here's what some cop just cursed. I was able to see it. So I saw the fist come to my mouth. He wants to punch me in the mouth, right? But what do you think happens? If I couldn't heal it, if I wasn't God this way, guy would slam on the brakes in the car in front of me. I'd hit that car, or my head would hit the steering wheel, my mouth would hit the steering wheel. They use this position of Johnson County to cast a spell. But we're not Satan, We're godly people. We go to church. No, there's no reason. It makes no sense. They're devils. 365 days ago, I walked up with my license plate, the same as it is today, and registered at the kiosk. And there's like nobody in there. So it looked like they've reduced the number of people that they accept for appointments. Double it. Well, the way it works is somebody that's not being hit by them is likely not to have too much issue with that. Again, you live in a deep state millionaire life. You walk in there, you're like, nobody else. First off, they're not cursing you not to read. All the sex offenders, all the uh, sex criminals, all the sex traffickers, all the narcotics distributors in Johnson County are living great lives in big houses, and they'll register online or via mail, and it works. Right? That's how they do it. We're teaching you not to get a personalized play. Why? Could you use it for your death squads? They run death squads just like Pinochet, but they're white collar squads, so it's okay. It's a white collar death squad, right? Yeah. Somebody just said it's part of it that you just put them into it. What do you expect? Why did you put them into it? Why didn't you just let them register a month ago? They wouldn't know anything. Or wouldn't say it, because it would mean that the system countered for the kiosk not being available. Hmm. No, it takes a 24/7 vigil to make that happen. Oh, you're just trying to get me to shut up? Well, pretty stupid, aren't you? Getting me to shut up takes the reverse. And they know it. I'll just fuck everything I say. We'll just reverse the heel. And to reverse all of you, well, I'll reverse every healing I applied into a curse. Have fun in your county in the coming poor years. No, it's obvious that the economy's not going to make it. They're setting up all these arrests. Part of them, all these investigations and search warrants, is that you can't say anything about the economy. That's what they're hoping for, but it's not going to work. They push people too far. Again, there's always a limit to the level of corruption that people that aren't doing well accept. Right. Yeah, they're trying to make it everybody afraid of saying that the economy's tanking. It's their addiction to money. They're looking at that 150 billion as theirs. Like, oh, we made 150 billion. They're looking at it as theirs. They're going to spend it on what they want to spend it on. There are people going to get contracts hand over fist and make that 150 billion. Right. In fact, the cops did this to me. The state workers that did it to me, they'll get something on 50 billion. But the people that are paying the 150 billion, it's already happened, right? There's no reason for me not to speak though. No reason whatsoever. I've already not spoken on things. In some cases, it got twice as bad. Right. Right. It's not bad, but it's that person. But we go to church and we're pure and holy. Set aside we are. We're building temples in God. So you bet your bottom dollar those missionaries are being worked into operate. The missionaries are being worked into being operators, psychological operators. Not all of them, I'm sure. But I'm sure in their church, if by the time they turn 30, they're not an operator, that they'll look at putting them out. Right. That's how it works. 40 is like the deadline. 30 is when they start, really hitting hard. Right. Just the way the deep state is. Again, it's the beast. So if you call it the beast, then it makes sense. No, try to get in line online tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. It's depletion. It's depletion. You gotta get up at 6 a.m. They know what they're sickos. They're just like that Rainier sex cult, but their goal generally is to make people have sex that they're victimizing, to say that they're sinners, quote unquote, right? And adulterate sex. First thing is to control the sex, the orgasm, then adulterate the orgasm. Thanks, Larry. Oh, it's actually everything they're doing is in pornography. If you study pornography from a scientific point of view, you'll figure out what they're doing. And then, of course, if you know the deep state, then you'll see the psyop. Right. So the incels was a psyop. It's a cover up because I was telling everybody that they're attacking people. So I'm supposed to be afraid to say that they're taking people's relationships and stopping men from meeting women. So they create the incel. So now I'm supposed to be afraid, right? Or they'll label me an incel. Knowing everybody knows what they were doing and what they're doing. But the deep state will lie and say, well, it's godly to do that because we're protecting the children. But the end result is to make the person a pedophile if they can. Oh, but that means they're weak, brother. That means they're weak. Right. See, all scam, entire thing. And then they came up with this gooning thing. Well, what they're doing is when they do their psychological profile, they run up against the wall. Well, he seems to be having normal relationships with women. Well, we'll take care of that. And then the witches do that. The devils do that. Then they'll say, well, he's 60-something% of Americans look at pornography, and isn't that bad? And then the person stays online for like 3 hours looking at pornography or something. I call it gooner. And then they get the person to embrace it by, oh, this is gooner. Actually, like normalize it. No, it isn't the liberals alone. It's every one of you. You'll go to hell for it. Every last one of you that's part of the So, like, let's say I work for Bernie Sanders and you consider him a person of the people. If I went to Bernie Sanders' office first, he wouldn't give me a job. Let's say he did. They tell him, make sure he doesn't have a woman. He doesn't get a woman. Everybody that works there, including Bernie, would make sure I don't get a woman. See, you all go to hell. So the numbers in the scriptures make sense, but it doesn't include, like, the church isn't the people that are being saved. But again, people will be saved independently of the numbers in the scripture. There's a number of people that are innocent. They happen to be the trans people and people like them because you made them. You created them with your own mind, your own will, your own spells, with your own psyops. I mean, to see their bullshit, think about this. That one guy that was a SEAL, all of a sudden he's the darling of CNN and MSNBC because he's trans now. 2 years later, he's no longer trans. He's got a girlfriend within, like, what, a week? Right. And he's welcome. He's on Fox News. He's welcomed by the conservatives. It's bullshit. If you use the rules they're using against me and everyone else, which was still bullshit, but he would never saw another day of a relationship. Again, he's probably a devil, and he's manipulating the world with this thing. So again, missing exploited children, don't accept what they say at face value. Obviously, if there's a missing child, there's something you have to do, but the backstory to it may be completely different than what they're saying. And then if even if there's not a missing child, if you're saying that guy, that gal, I mean, they're just pieces of shit. Really, the same people that were in the FBI that tried to do your officer when they came into town. So what they'll do is they'll project their sexuality. They're hoping the person is stupid because they get up. So when they get turned on, they go have sex with a boss. So you see how this all works for them? They turn the man on, the man's all turned on, and they won't let that person have a sexual outlet while they're doing this to the person, trying to make them a criminal. No, they're not testing it. Then then they run off. They get turned on, then they run off and have sex with a boss and take care of their career. Hmm. There's very few women got anywhere in this world that didn't have sex with a boss. I'll tell you that. They're pigs, and that's just all they are. And there are men that are pigs also. In fact, they're succubee and incubus.